This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
Next on the 5 o'clock report.
It'll happen over a period of 4 hours if we wanted to. We don't want that to happen.
They have an apocalyptic end of the world attitude.
It's such a pleasure to be spending a little bit of time with our colleagues in space.
Now, let's go to the newsroom.
Hyperbole or dead serious threat? Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Mark Webster. We should find out the answer about 3 hours from now. 8 p.m. is the deadline set by President Donald Trump for Iran to open the Strait of Hormuz to shipping traffic, abandon its nuclear weapons ambitions, and meet other U.S. terms to end attacks on the Islamic Republic.
Every bridge in Iran will be decimated, where every power plant will be out of business, burning, exploding, and never to be used again. I mean, complete demolition. And it'll happen over a period of 4 hours if we wanted to. We don't want that to happen.
There was a new Pakistani proposal floated this afternoon for a 2-week ceasefire to allow more time for negotiations. No word on whether the Trump administration or Tehran has any interest in it, though Trump has said there are, quote, heated negotiations taking place with Iran. But retired Vice Admiral Mark Fox tells Fox News reaching a deal with the Iranians is challenging at best.
We're not like each other here. They think differently. Their religion and their government are one and the same. They have an apocalyptic kind of end of the world attitude towards their belief. This is the same regime that sent little boys into minefields in the late 1980s to clear mines, and they were promised that they would go to paradise.
Iran is vowing a, quote, immediate and proportional response to any U.S. attack. Iranian TV broadcasting images of flag-waving citizens lined up along bridges, power plants, and other likely targets as human shields against a U.S. attack. An American journalist kidnapped in Iraq last month has been released in an apparent prisoner swap. An Iranian-backed Iraqi militia group says they freed Shelley Kittleson on the condition she leave the country immediately. The New York Times says she was exchanged for several imprisoned militia members. Kittleson was abducted in Baghdad at the end of March. An attack on the Israeli consulate in Istanbul, Turkey today.
Officials say one assailant was killed and 2 police officers were wounded. The country's interior minister said the attackers were linked to a group that exploits religion without naming the organization.
CBS's Cammie McCormick. Fraud and political payback, 2 primary topics for Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche during a news conference today outlining his priorities. On weaponization of the Justice Department.
People say the president wants to go after his political enemies. No, the president has said time and time again that he wants justice. And if you look at what happened to him, his family, his administration, role of the media, that somehow this department is weaponizing itself, but it happens not to be true.
Blanche replaces Pam Bondi on a temporary basis. She's awaiting a new assignment from President Trump, likely in the private sector. As for her outstanding congressional subpoena, Blanche says whether she still has to respond to that is up to the lawmakers who issued it. Also unknown is who will eventually be nominated as Bondi's permanent successor. Bill Gates set for an interview with the House Oversight Committee. That'll happen in June, related to his connection with Jeffrey Epstein. That's according to multiple reports. Now, Gates is one of several people who have agreed to be interviewed by the oversight panel. Well, back in the old copper phone line days, there was something called a station-to-station call. Today, humanity witnessed the first space-to-space call as astronauts aboard the International Space Station linked up with fellow space travelers aboard the Artemis II lunar spacecraft.
It's such a pleasure to be spending a little bit of time with our colleagues in space, and we talk so much up here. We emphasize how important the work is that we're all doing in this program to get us ready to get back on the surface of the moon, and like the administrator was saying yesterday, onto Mars. So we just appreciate you, and it's fun to be up in space with you at the same time.
The Artemis II crew is due to splash down off the coast of San Diego on Friday. Close call in California. An 8-year-old boy in Sacramento found a live military mortar partially buried in his backyard. His mother says he dug it out after he told her. She used Google to identify the object. She called 911. The sheriff's office came out and confirmed it was a live explosive. The 81-millimeter mortar round dates back to 1953 and could have injured or killed people within about 1,000 feet. Well, how much do you trust AI when it comes to your personal health care?
Doctor, Just make it a real doctor, apparently. Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center polled more than 1,000 adults and found only 42% are open to AI being used as part of their care. That number was 52% in a 2024 survey. Ravi Tripathi, the chief health informatics officer at the center, suggests using AI in conjunction with a doctor and consult with healthcare professionals before final decisions are made. I'm Michael Kastner.
All right, still to come here on the 5 o'clock report, we'll have a recap of our top regional stories and highlights from today's Hometown Heroes. Now checking the stories making news where you live across New York and Pennsylvania. Still no deal. Lawmakers set to return to Albany to vote on another state budget extender today. It would ensure the state can cover essential expenses and payroll. Governor Kathy Hochul and state legislative leaders continue negotiations. Hochul telling reporters Monday she's still deciding how long a second state budget extender should be as lawmakers remained out of town for holiday break, but she was factoring in the remaining days of Passover into the decision. The budget was due April 1st. Today marks a week since a powerful storm came through that left hundreds of towns across upstate New York with flooding. Water levels still remain dangerously high in some spots, including Oneida Lake, northeast of Syracuse. Vincent Tricase lives on the lake and tells WSYR.
It's been like this for about 3 or 4 days now, and it's never been this bad. I mean, it fluctuates every year a little bit, up and down, but this is amazing.
Many docks on Oneida still underwater. New York State Police say a man pulled a knife during a road rage incident on the state thruway in the town of Batavia. Police say the incident occurred shortly before 8 a.m. today when Jason Wendt of Calcium, New York, came to a sudden stop, his 2022 Ford rear-ended by a Peterbilt tractor. The drivers pulled to the shoulder. Trucker got out, approached the Ford, when Wendt allegedly opened his door suddenly, nearly pushing the truck driver into oncoming traffic. The men began to fight after that. Police say Wendt pulled out a pocket knife and threatened the truck driver. He was arraigned in Genesee County Jail on multiple charges. A pet food camera saved a family's home yesterday in Alden, New York. The Mill Grove Fire Department says that camera, attached to a pet food dish, started sending images of the blaze to the family's cell phones when no one was home. Fire Chief Bob Alexo tells WGRZ something hit a burner button on the stove that caused it to turn on, then a nearby box caught fire.
Yesterday, they bought a pet feeder with a camera on it, and it alerted them. They actually saw the fire on their camera and alerted us before the fire got real bad.
Thankfully, the flames didn't spread beyond the kitchen because of that camera.
They caught it really early. Thank God for that pet camera. It could have been, it was minutes away from being really bad.
There was about $10,000 damage to the home, but the house is still standing because of that pet bowl camera. A new bill in the Pennsylvania State House looks to tighten cyber charter regulations in the Keystone State by preventing districts from footing the bill for students to attend cyber schools outside their districts. Democrat Nikki Rivera proposing House Bill 2358, saying districts shouldn't have to pay if they're already offering an in-house cyber program kids living there can attend. And a press conference from the Batcave. Well, no, not the fictional Caped Crusaders famed lair. In this case, we're talking about an honest-to-goodness Pennsylvania cave inhabited by actual bats.
We're all in. All right. Woohoo, we did it. My name is Corey Ekman, and I have had the privilege of serving as the first park manager here at Laurel Caverns State Park.
Pennsylvania launching its 125th state park on Monday, the state's first subterranean state park, Laurel Caverns. It's 68 miles southeast of Pittsburgh, a cave system with more than 4 miles of underground trails. The launch was held deep inside the cave system, about 474 feet below the surface. Governor Josh Shapiro on hand.
I love getting outside. I love visiting our state parks. I am the first governor to camp in one of our state parks, and we did that 2 years ago when our family loaded into an RV and traversed all across Pennsylvania to try and show off all of our amazing places for outdoor recreation.
Public tours for the cavern begin on Earth Day, April 22nd, because some bats use the cave for winter hibernation. The labyrinth of Laurel Caverns now preserved for future generations as Pennsylvania's newest state park. Up next, highlights from today's Hometown Heroes. April is National Card and Letter Writing Month, and for Tammy Dunmeyer, reaching out to people with personal cards and letters is a longtime ministry born of serious illness. Take me back to when this began for you. It was born of serious illness.
Yeah, so in 2016, I had major surgery, and as a result, I received a lot of get well cards, as people often do, and I decided to take it upon myself to write back to everybody that had sent me get well notes or had done meal trains for our family as thank you notes. And as that pile dwindled away, I was really just struggling with how the Lord could use me in that season of my recovery. And I just prayed a very simple prayer, asking the Lord to show me ways that I could be his hands and feet during my recovery period. And as a result, the Lord had given me a few names, people that I could encourage for my bedroom walls, and sent them notes. And when they responded about how the Holy Spirit had used my cards that arrived just at the right time, my personal ministry was born. I realized that the Lord could use this in a very powerful way. And so I just fell in love with writing cards, and I wrote as many as I possibly could during that recovery year for myself.
Right. And so this then morphed into something even bigger, like an actual formal ministry at church.
Yeah, so I shared with a few friends about what I was doing, and I found that, of course, there were other people like me who enjoyed writing cards but never really thought about it as a ministry opportunity. And so I started a card ministry at my church, and we used it as an opportunity to reach within our church congregation, but also within our community, to come alongside people and to be praying for them and to thank and appreciate the ways that they were serving.
Mm-hmm. So you did that at your former church, and now you're doing that at Victory. And give us a sense of this. You and a team of folks, I guess, are writing a whole lot of cards.
Yeah, so I've continued my personal ministry, but our card ministry group sends out about 150 or so cards as a group every month for various different projects that we've taken on, whether it be assisted living places or nursing homes, to our local firemen, paramedics, and police officers. We've written to schools to just love and appreciate our teachers who are serving our community faithfully, to our local businesses, any way that we can possibly reach into our community and to thank them for the ways that they're serving. Our church has been trying to come alongside of them and to just love on them for what they're doing and to show them the love of Jesus through pen and paper.
Yeah, the power of the pen, somebody once said, and this is a little different take on that theme. It's got to be really gratifying for folks to get that sort of personalized letter from you, and I imagine you're getting some pretty cool feedback.
Yeah, it's been really neat to hear the stories. You know, we live in a world where we don't really get much personalized mail anymore, and people have really just given feedback on our notes always seem to come right at the time where they were really struggling, and how the Holy Spirit just used that in a way to encourage them. It's been really special to hear about how many people had kept the cards and have gone back to those over and over again when they were really feeling discouraged. It was neat to see some of the local businesses had pasted them up in their windows, that they just really appreciated the prayer and support they were getting. So it's been really cool to hear how God has used that and opened up doors in our community in ways that we never saw possible.
How is this, as you've continued to stay with this unique ministry, how has it impacted you as you've continued to do this?
Like I said, it became a personal ministry to me. I have really just loved journaling about the ways that the Lord has used it. It never ceases to amaze me the way that the Lord wastes nothing, and just the simple ways that as I pray over the cards that I'm writing, how they always seem to come right at the right time. It's become actually a part of my discipline when I'm doing my morning devotions, and a big part of my prayer life, that I really enjoy writing out my prayers to people. We often say we're going to pray for somebody as a believer, but then we don't always follow through with that. And so for me, the discipline is actually writing out my prayer to that individual and sticking it in the mail so I don't forget, or writing myself a note, in a couple weeks to continue to pray for that person and to write out my prayer again and pray over them and send it. So it's a way also for me to make sure I'm doing what I'm saying I'm doing when I'm offering to pray for somebody.
You can hear today's Hometown Heroes in its entirety and all of our full-length Family Life original news features at Apple Podcast, YouTube, Spotify, and FamilyLife.org. This is the 5 o'clock report on Family Life.
Most people have heard the phrase, don't put all your eggs in one basket. It turns out that idea actually has biblical roots. Hi, I'm Rob West with today's Faith and Finance Minute. In Ecclesiastes 11:2, we read, "Invest in 7 ventures, yes, in 8. You do not know what disaster may come upon the land." Solomon recognized something we still experience today. Life is unpredictable. Because we can't foresee the future, wisdom calls us to spread risk rather than concentrate it. That's the basic principle behind diversification. Instead of relying on a single investment, income stream, or opportunity, wise stewardship often means building a balanced approach. Diversification can't eliminate risk entirely, but it can help guard against the unexpected. Manage your finances wisely with the easy-to-use FaithFi app. Download FaithFi, Faith and Finance from your app store, or learn more at faithfi.com.
Thanks, Rob. Finally at 5, if you like carrot cake, you should have been at Ted Martindale's birthday party. For his 80th, the self-confessed wacky owner of Granville's Coffee Shop in Quesnel, British Columbia, decided to whip up a Whopper, the world's largest ever carrot cake.
I'm sort of known as the crazy old man of Quesnel, I think, because our restaurant is constantly doing nutty things. And I just thought it would be a fun thing for the whole town for us to do this.
Of course, baking a cake that big took some planning by Martindale and a team of paid staff and volunteers.
I figured it out how many carrot cakes we'd have to make and did the weighings and so on.
You can say, oh yeah, we're building a big cake, but until you see it, you don't really have an idea, do you?
It took a month to make. The ingredient list included nearly a ton of carrots, 700 pounds of butter, thousands of eggs, almost a ton of icing. When the flour dust finally settled, they assembled 430 cakes into one mega cake measuring 17 feet square, weighing in at just over 3 tons.
Never had one like this.
No one has. Then they served up free pieces to anyone and everyone in town who wanted some. And that's the world we live in for Tuesday, April 7th, 2026. Thanks again for joining us. I'm Mark Webster, Family Life News.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.